G'day there guys, I can resist anything but temptation, and pictures of cats, and coffee, and your happiness. It's Markee, welcome back to another episode of r/AmiTheA. I hope you enjoyed today's content. If you do, tell me what you think about it down below. Smash like on the video, sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie, I know it's a lot for you to be doing, I'm sorry, and enjoy the content. Thank you. Posted by user Groundbreaking Law 53. Titled, Am I the a-hole for wanting my boyfriend to come straight home after work, on some days, to help me de-stress after taking care of our 4-month-old son all day? Hey guys, hope y'all are keeping safe. Sorry for my roundabout story, but I hope you guys can advise me. I, 32 female, had an argument with my boyfriend's 32 male brother, 24 male, yesterday, because he asked me why I was mad at my boyfriend when he came home. My boyfriend is an IT guy in a section of our government. He likes to go to the sauna almost every day. He says to de-stress from work from about 5 p.m. to 8 to 9 p.m. If it's not the sauna, he goes to have a drink with friends. Because of the Rona curfew, he has to get home by 9 p.m. Now, I have no problem with him wanting to relieve stress or having time with his friends. Everyone needs this. All I've asked of him is to compromise and come home early on some days so I can take a break for an hour or two, take a bath in peace, or eat without my kids screaming to be carried. I'm a first-time mum at 32, a stay-at-home mum, and my son has refused to bottle feed, so I can't supplement with formula. Basically, this means I have to be around him 24/7. My brother-in-law knows all this as he's been staying with us for about 5 months now. So yesterday, while arguing, he implies that my mental health is not important because my only reward should be my child's well-being, and that my boyfriend's mental health is more important and that I should give him a break, and I'm not being fair. He also said that me being stressed is stressing them both out and making things uncomfortable. And the last thing my boyfriend needs is to come home and see my frustrations when he needs to relax. Now, I know I'm not asking for too much, and I see red flags whenever someone makes me feel like I am. Is there another perspective to this that I'm not seeing? I feel like you're fairly clearly seeing the red flags in this situation. Your boyfriend's mental health is not more important than yours. In this situation, I'd say yours is more important than his because he's not giving you the time of day and he's not preparing himself to look after the kid at all. Kinda looks like he's shirking responsibility and staying away as much as he can because he doesn't want to look after the kid. It's very apparent from his actions he doesn't want to look after this kid, and he's gonna keep offloading this onto you because he actually doesn't care about looking after the kid right now. To me, that's a huge red flag, and I don't know what other perspectives you're going to get. You really need to nip this one in the bud, and he needs to straighten up his act because that's unacceptable from a parent. And if he is struggling, he needs to communicate. It's fairly certain that he hasn't, so I'm on the side of OP here. I'm gonna go with not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. He's a parent too, and shouldn't expect you to be a single mother when in a relationship. Thank you. I thought I was going crazy for real. Not the a-hole. Your job as a stay-at-home mother is to take care of your son during working hours. Your partner is still a father and has to help out. It's unreasonable to say that you have to be at work 24/7. You are not asking too much. You are definitely entitled to some time to de-stress. Thank you. His brother made it out to be a privilege and bonding time to be with my son for 24 hours with no break. I have spoken to my boyfriend about this like 3 times, and he appears to hear, but he goes right back to doing what he was doing before. He's supposed to be your partner. No one can work 24/7. If your significant other isn't listening, then consider couples therapy. Either way, what you are doing isn't sustainable and will likely breed resentment. It's extremely unfair that he gets me time almost every day, and you never get any. This is a major problem. I'm already resentful. I see him come home pale from the sauna, and the baby is fed and bathed and about to sleep, and my only downtime is when he's asleep? I don't want to become bitter. I can't take it out on the baby, so I'm not my happiest when he comes home and he's not comfortable with that. Get direct. There are 5 working days. 2 can be sauna days, and I need to know which they are, and I need you to commit to that. This is your family, and I'm a person like you who deserves free time. I cannot imagine you want to disrespect me and make me feel so used, so I expect you to work with me on this resolution. He's not comfortable with what? You being sad and isolated and angry because of his actions? I tried that talk, and he made it out like he didn't like to be restricted, wanted to be able to go when he wanted. The second and third time, he didn't say anything and didn't change. He's not comfortable, so I should pretend to be happy. Well, that sounds pathetic. Seems like his wanting to come and go whenever he wanted should have been something he considered before having a child. He's a dad now and has responsibilities. Sometimes our responsibilities prevent us from doing whatever we want. Update. I suppose this falls under relationships, but just wanted to let you guys know how it went. I left my boyfriend's to go rest at my mum's. During that week, my boyfriend never reached out to me, even if to check if we arrived safely or to ask about our son, and that was the answer I needed. End of the week, I texted him to ask if I could pick my things up from his place. I told him things weren't working out as he clearly didn't care about me and we weren't a priority to him. He said he didn't see what he had done wrong, which is why he had kept quiet and didn't reach out. He said by me moving out, I was taking his son away from him. Yet he spent 3/4 of his free time out of the house in the sauna, 3 to 4 hours on a weekday after work and 8 hours on the weekend every day. He said he didn't see the point of coming home to babysit a 4-month-old who needed his mother more. All I wanted was for him to come home after work on some days and take care of the baby while I shower in peace or eat food. He said it's clear I wasn't ready to have a child because he knows women who work 9 to 5 jobs and still come home to cook and take care of the kids, implying that I'm failing because I needed a break for an hour? He said we could reverse roles and he wouldn't complain at all. When I told him he should be bonding with the baby, he said he'll take over when he's a toddler and easier to handle, and that kids can be bribed with money and trips and they'll be your best friend. I did not make the decision to end this just because of this issue. It was a combination of all the red flags. But to be honest, this was the last straw. I was running on fumes, exhausted physically and mentally, and I was asking him to help me, but he decided, without talking to me about it, that I didn't need a break. I believe he wants to live his life as a single man, but enjoy the benefits of a relationship. Sex, companionship, good housekeeping, and food, when he comes home. That's not how a relationship works. For a while, he made me feel like what I was asking for was too much, and that I was crazy for asking for a little consideration, like I wasn't worth fighting for. I felt it was wrong, and talking to you guys here on Reddit strengthened my resolve. We are now officially exes, and to be honest, I don't feel like it's a loss. I only feel stupid that I chose this person and I'm tied to him for the rest of my life, and now my child is the one who suffers from my choice and not having a good father around him every day. Thank you everyone for your encouraging comments and messages. You made me feel much better about everything and like I wasn't alone. Y'all are awesome. I love it when the other parent thinks staying home with an infant is easy. They have zero clue. OP, you are better off without him. And thinks a toddler is easier to handle. Lol, what? Has this jerk ever been around a kid ever? If I can trade my terrible 2-year-old toddler with a 6-month-old feed-me infant, I would do it in a heartbeat. F yeah. My 16-month-old is awesome, but when he gets a bee in his bonnet, good God. Yeah. Anyone else thinking Sauna is another woman? You're better off without him. Sounded like you were effectively a single mum anyway. Funnily enough, he has to do more now than if he'd only come home 2 hours earlier a couple days a week, assuming he'll get some sort of custody, and he has to pay her a lot more. What an idiot. He won't get any kind of custody yet for a baby that is exclusively breastfeeding that he's never even babysat. When the baby is older, he'll only get visitations, and eventually partial custody. For the father to get shared custody, the father needs to actually parent. There's no way it isn't another woman. Nobody spends all day in a sauna. I don't even think you would physically be able to stay in that long even if you wanted to. It reminds me of the Friends episode when Joey finds out his dad is cheating on his mom. He forces him to come clean to her, and it turns out she knew all along because of how terrible his excuses were, like, I was sleeping over at my accountant's. Make him pay child support. This, OP, it isn't about you. The kid is entitled to the quality of life you can better provide if you aren't struggling to pay for extras out of pride or internalizing the kind of gaslighting men are great at employing to evade being sued for child support. Even if you really don't need his money if family helps to make ends meet or whatever, put it away for the future. He's already trying to tell you it's your fault for being unhappy. He expects you to do everything, so he seems the type to resent you for wanting him to do the bare minimum, providing for his kid, to be honest. He seemed resentful that I was asking him to help, so his after-work activities would be cut short. Maybe that's why he didn't bother anyway? We are to talk to hash out child support terms. Get a lawyer for that. Don't let him try and manipulate you. He can't manipulate a lawyer. Posted by user ThrowAs126. Titled, Am I the a-hole for paying for my stepson's college but refusing to pay for my stepdaughter's? Throwaway account because my account has my name in it. I, 46 male, have a wife, Janice, 44 female, and two stepchildren, Jonas and Lucy, both 25. Their biological dad died in a car crash before they were born, and Janice has raised them as a single mother. I met Janice about 5 years ago, and we've been married for almost 2 years now. I love her very much, and we have an amazing relationship. When me and Janice started dating, we took things really slow. She said she had bad luck with men in the past and wanted to be sure. I, of course, respected that. After a year of dating, she introduced me to her children. Jonas was really excited to meet me, but Lucy wasn't. She was mean to me and overall distant. She made some inappropriate comments like, "Why do you even bother when you will eventually leave my mum?" Or, "My mum is better off without you." I tried to bond with her, but I never forced her to do anything. She is an adult, and when she said she doesn't want to talk to me, I respected that. On the other hand, me and Jonas really bonded. We got to know each other, we talked really often, and we play tennis together when we meet. About 2 years ago, me and Janice got married and she moved into my place. Her kids live in a bigger city, which is about 2 hours drive away, and they both go to college there. Both of them were visiting Janice every other weekend, but when she moved into my place, Lucy stopped visiting. There is no issue with my place. It's a nice big house with a garden, swimming pool, and tennis courts. Jonas still comes every other weekend, but Lucy comes like once in 4 months. Last month, both Jonas and Lucy finished college and got their degrees. They came to us and we celebrated. Me and Jonas were talking, and I offered to pay off his student debt. I never had my own children, and I have some savings, so it's not that big of a deal for me. When I spoke to Lucy, she asked if I could pay for her college as well, but I said I won't. She got upset, and Janice got mad at me as well. She said that I can't pay for one child and not for the other, and that it's either both or none. I get that, but Lucy was never interested in having any kind of a relationship with me, and now she wants to get money out of me. Jonas was more than nice to me, and I want to help him out. Am I the a-hole here? Edit. I didn't offer to pay for his debt in front of both of them. I talked with him about it in private, but he was excited and told Lucy. And I don't think that's his fault either for that one. I don't feel like if Lucy gifted her brother a big sum of money, and then you expected to get a big lump sum from her as well just because the brother did, that would be fair either. You know, because we're family in this situation, and if one gets something, the other's supposed to get something, right? Lucy made absolutely no attempt to foster a relationship with OP, and she knows that the brother is getting the money because they have such a good relationship, and he probably looks at him like a son. It's not fair when Lucy knows damn well why he's getting that money. It's not fair on anyone that she's pushing the envelope like this. I think she should back off and accept reality. Or maybe foster a relationship and spend 5 years getting to know him, and then she can get that money. But the way it currently is, no, I don't agree. Not the a-hole, OP. Not the a-hole. My knee-jerk reaction is to say that yeah, you're the a-hole and you should be fair with your money, but frankly, these aren't your kids. You've only known them as adults, and you have no real obligation to either of them. You can do what you want with your money. That said, spending money only on one and not the other is only going to cause more resentment, and it's pretty short-sighted to think that anything good could come of that. Not the a-hole as well? If I would resent a person and go out of my way to constantly show them that, I wouldn't dream to dare to ask for money, even if offered to me. I would decline. We are talking about adults here. What is this? Her high horse stumbles on the money now? What if she married rich and her husband wants to pay for her? Would it still be both or none? I'm sure she is jealous at the thought of her brother being debt-free and not her, but life is not fair, and neither was she to OP. So, time for a hard lesson in my opinion. That would be a convincing argument, had he not blindsided his wife with that. Even if no one subscribes to the idea that they're supposed to be a financial unit, an idea which varies by location and culture, they are at the very least supposed to be a life choice unit, and at the very, very, very least supposed to be a life choice unit to her kids. Offering a huge chunk of their money to her kid without asking her first is a huge misstep. Hell, ignore, just for a moment, the fact that there's another kid and that he threw a gigantic wrench in the relationship among the family members. His wife expected a certain thing financially for her and her son, and their life course going forward. But then, OP unilaterally decided that that's going to change, and he didn't consult his own wife about it or even tell her. Throw the other kid into the mix, and it's an outright disaster. Again, it's a huge wrench thrown into the machinery of family relations. How are wife, son, and daughter going to get along with this wedge driven between them? Yes, it seems as though the daughter's hostility initially had nothing to do with him, and everything to do with her experience before he came along, setting the tone for everything that came after, and no, that doesn't mean she's entitled to money from the person she's being hostile to. But boy does this action verify her prejudices. OP will be biased against her and betray his wife. That makes me wonder whether anything unstated in the interim has also strengthened this attitude. Given her attitude, I doubt this is the first betrayal or dysfunction she's observed. A side note regarding the seemingly irrelevant, there is no issue with my place, it's a nice big house with a garden, swimming pool, and tennis courts. Why mention that at all? That seems to point to the type of person OP might be. One who uses money to affect the actions and opinions of others towards him without a care about how it affects anything outside of his immediate view. Maybe that's part of what the daughter hates about him, part of what cemented her first impression. ETA, after I posted, OP commented, "I offered him the money because in my opinion, he deserves it. Lucy does not. The idea of deserving the money seems rather crude and strengthens my suspicions. As I said in a recent reply, my guess is that OP values material things. If so, he likely sees himself as bestowing them onto a struggling single mother, just in time for him not to have to deal with anything messy like helping raise them, something I mention as a fact, not a critique. She has gone from not being able to help with her children's college to being able to playing in her own, or rather his own, tennis court and swimming pool. That means that he deserves her children's fealty. Since only one gave it to him, that's the one who deserves to have such material things bestowed on him as well. Meanwhile, the daughter likely values stability more, and sees her stepfather as undermining it. I know that seems ironic given that she is complaining about not getting money. She should feel neither entitled to free money nor wish her mum a lifetime of solitude to sustain the status quo, no matter how much harm her mum's quest for love has wreaked in the past. But nothing destabilizes a family more quickly than sowing resentments among its members, which OP has done, whether through carelessness or thoughtlessness. The deserved comment makes me lean towards thoughtlessness. And here's that comment that guy is referring to. I would just like to clarify something. When I offered Jonas to pay off his debt, I didn't expect that Lucy would ask me to do the same for her. Over the years, she has told me many times that she doesn't approve of my relationship with her mother and that she doesn't like me. I recognize that she has some trauma from her mother's past relationships, but I have done nothing wrong to her and she doesn't need to take it out on me. However, I respected her boundaries and didn't force her to spend time with me. She is an adult and makes her own choices. She said multiple times that she doesn't want anything to do with me. So when she asked me for that money, I knew that's the only thing she wants from me, and that's why I refused. Jonas understands why I refused to pay for his sister's college, and honestly, he was also a bit surprised when she asked me for money. Janice is still rightfully mad because I put her in a difficult position, but she understands my reasons. I know that I should have discussed this with her before doing anything. Lucy is not entitled to your money, but you are going to have a problem if you don't offer her the same thing as her twin. Her trauma isn't your responsibility, but maybe it will help you find some grace for her? ? Update. I got a lot of messages asking for an update and how things ended up. Some of you guys gave me really good advice and I was able to see things from another perspective. I'm grateful for that. It has been about 2 weeks since the incident, and I'm happy to say that we resolved everything and we don't argue anymore. At first, I apologized to my wife. I know I put her into a really crappy position and caused a rift between our family. I only wanted to help Jonas, but I didn't think it all the way through. My actions were short-sighted, and I should have discussed this with her before offering to pay anything. We talked about everything, and thankfully she's not mad at me anymore. She said she knows my intentions were good, but she needs to keep things fair between her children. She understands why I don't want to pay for Lucy's college, and admitted she was also surprised when Lucy asked me for money. I said if necessary, I would tell Jonas I changed my mind about paying his debt, and this way he would be mad at me and not at Janice, but we agreed to talk about it with the kids first. About a week later, we met with Jonas and Lucy to talk. I explained to Lucy why I won't pay off her debt. I told her she was nothing but rude and disrespectful to me for 4 years. She said many times she doesn't want anything to do with me, and suddenly changed her mind when she thought she can get money out of me. She understood. She said she got so excited when Jonas told her I would pay off his debts, and at that moment she thought I could do the same for her. But now she understands why I won't, and doesn't blame me. She admitted she had some issues with her mum's previous partners, and that's why she was so rude to me. When I heard that, I offered to pay for her therapy so she can get better, and Lucy accepted. At last, Lucy said if I'm still willing to pay off Jonas's debt, I should do it, because she doesn't want to stay in the way of his happiness. I asked Jonas if he's okay with me paying off his debts and not his sister's, and he said he is. He thanked me and was very grateful for the offer. Janice also agreed, so I paid off his debt. I'm really happy I was able to help him like this. Now he can focus on getting a nice home for his future family he always talks about and doesn't have to worry about debts. I really hope the therapy works and Lucy will be able to deal with her issues. I will try to put more effort into building a relationship with her, and maybe in the future, I will also pay off her debt. But I haven't told her because I don't want to hold it over her head, nor I want her to fake it. When I heard that, I offered to pay for her therapy so she can get better, and Lucy accepted. That's no small thing. So many people need and want to attend therapy, but simply can't afford it. Honestly, I think it's the better gift than paying off her debts, especially since you mentioned that if things genuinely improved between you, you would consider paying off her school debt as well. Instead of just giving in and giving her what she wanted to shut her up or end the drama, you were giving her what she needs to be a better person. Agreed. It looks like OP took the advice a lot of people gave in the last thread. That's great, and therapy can be used to improve on things that aren't just issues from her mother's past failed relationships. I also think it's wise to not tell Lucy that her debts can possibly get paid off too. Puts too much pressure on the relationship, and things like that need to grow naturally, especially when Lucy already has trust issues. OP offering therapy was the best olive branch and a good decision that will benefit Lucy and likely the relationships she has herself. I'd like to say that it's also no small thing for Lucy to accept the offer. I'm pleasantly surprised by everyone in this family, but especially by Lucy. It can't have been easy to admit OP was right about both her treatment of him and why he wasn't paying off her student debt. And then she honestly spoke about why she'd behaved that way. Then she accepted the therapy offer. And then she made a point of saying OP should still pay for her brother. I think she deserves a lot of credit in this update. Alright, I think that's where I'm going to end today's video, guys. I do hope you enjoyed it. As always, I want to do a huge shout out to all my channel members and Patreon subscribers. You should be up on the screen now. I love you all, and I think every single one of you are amazing for supporting the channel in the way that you do. Again, thank you so much for supporting me. And again, if you did enjoy today's video, please do tell me what you thought of it down in the comments below. All of your hot takes, opinions, whatever you think, really, whatever's going on in your life right now, I'd love to hear down in the comments below. Before I leave, I'd also like to announce that I'm going to start doing meme content again on the second channel. I know it's been a while, so click on the Markee head on the screen without the Australian flag behind him if you want to go see some memes. And as always, guys, have a good day, night, sleep, whatever you're up to, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.